me send. Hello everyone for round 2 of season 2 of OWSS. I am Lorenzo Eterovic-Funcic, joined by Samuil Slavev here as my co-commentator today, and the ever so lovely Remco the Zeeuw on the cameras. And we've missed practice unfortunately today, but we are here for qualifying, and it's going to be a rainy qualifying here today, Samuil.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by missing practice, but I don't think we stream practice. But besides that, I think it's going to be a very interesting qualifying. Rain is always a big factor. Maybe, even though there's equal cars, it's going to equal out the playing field. Maybe Cody Nico is not going to be so fast this time around. Or maybe he's going to be even faster, which is maybe the worst option.
The worst option for anyone other than himself, of course, but I
Yes,
think
of
he'd be
course.
very chuffed to see. I think he'd be very chuffed to see himself on pole position for 2 races in a row. Obviously, the main man of round 1 getting pole position and double race wins on his OWSS debut. Although he wasn't the only star of the show, as we do have with ourselves currently. Oliver Taras is here today again, who put on a very good performance in round 1, having done a small first to last last to first challenge, the other way around. Starting 23rd, he did in Okayama in both races. Got up to P7 in race 1 and up to P4 in race 2. We also have Antonis Paparinopoulos here, who had a very good round 1 as well. He'll be looking to improve on his results of P8 and P5 for sure. And Cesar Rizzo, who got P15 and P3 for Pravira, the Indonesian outfit. Unfortunately not with us here today, although one person who is here with us today, Brodie Lawless, who was one of the better drivers in Season 1. From what I've heard, he's driving with essentially one hand on his wheel and one hand on his keyboard, and that doesn't seem to be hampering him as he's currently on pole position.
Yeah, Brody is the type of driver that makes the most out of any situation he's given, so I don't think that having a broken wheel is really going to stop him. As long as he can race fine, I don't mind. And here we see Thiago Melo spinning. Oh no, never mind. He finished his lap, that's why. I got excited for nothing. Yeah.
No. He finished his lap and he's up to P1 as it stands with just under 7 minutes left in qualifying. That's a very, very good lap by Thiago Melo, but not the fastest we've seen in the practice sessions, the official and unofficial ones. I think that would be, as we see Thiago Melo disconnect from the server. Hopefully we see him back in it very soon. Craig Patterson has set the purple time in Sector 1, and I think he might be one for pole position here, although it does ride the curb out of that turn quite a lot, and I think it'll, yellow in Sector 2, 0.18 off of his personal best, so I don't think he'll be improving that much, unfortunately, on track position, although he will be improving his lap time if he does decide to finish this one. And his purple Sector 1 is already gone, it's now a green Sector 1, so someone is already beating him. Craig Patterson does move up to P7 with a 1 minute 4.6. Cody Nikolatkovsky, green in both of the first sectors, currently 3rd. He might be looking to get Elk their first 1-2 in qualifying this season here. Will he be able to pull it off? It's going to be a 1 minute 3.9. Enough for P2, but not enough for P1 just yet.
Very, very interesting qualifying. The Elk team is so strong this year. Last year they were good as well, but this year they're even another level better, as Thiago Melo doesn't disappoint himself. And Cody Nicola, as we saw, is just a brilliant driver, and someone is spinning in the background and hit the barrier. I wonder who that was.
I do wonder who that was. Fortunately enough for them, not the race, only qualifying, for which you can escape back to the pit lane if you decide to bin it. We have seen quite a lot of changes now while my colleague here was speaking. Thijs Jongstra up to P2 as it stands. Christian Glomsetter, one of the better drivers of round 1 as well, up to P4. Silagi and Gyun, the Aquila pairing in 6th and 7th. Can we please not make that into a short yet again? Craig Patterson in P8 still. Don't wow me. Antonis Paparinopoulos moved up to P5 for a brief moment, although now he's back down to P10. Iho Soponen, one of the Velo ones, in P9. Thijs Jongstra is going to look to improve here from P3, but doesn't manage to do it. Victor Bernard, though, moves up to P4. Brodie Lawless is still in P6 as we see the 2 Fox cars there on the back stretch. Philip Chavinsky in the McKenna Racing car, one of 2 Irish outfits on the grid this season. Green in both of the first sectors, and we see yellow flags in Sector 2. I think that's still due to the Fox Esports cars slowing down so they can get slipstream off of one another. Chawinsky, will he be able to move up? He does to P3. Great lap time by the Polish driver there. As we see Brodie Lawless, who also set green in his first 2 sectors, was rubber banding ever so slightly there. Will he be able to improve on his lap time? 103.8, enough to go into P3. but he is a tenth of Flatkovsky, who, as we see, one of the KKRs there. Glomsetter is the one in front of Ockenhaug, so it seems like Ockenhaug will be getting slipstream off of his teammate as opposed to the other way around. Glomsetter currently in 7th and Ockenhaug down in 15th, so it does make some sense for Glomsetter to be the one giving slipstream. Although Glomsetter has set green sector 1, although he's yellow in sector 2. You see the two KKRs of Skinner and Fallon now in 8th and 9th. Okay, purple sector 2, and he goes pole position as it stands, 2.5 minutes left. The Norwegian is on pole position. And he knows why it's disturbed, it seems. It's treating tough to
Lorenzo, your
surpass.
internet is dying, man. You're very understandable. Let me continue to fix that. Yeah, Magnus Hogback goes into P1, Whitlock loses that, goes to P3. The L cars are in P2 and P4, and Craig Paddison is in P5, which is very, very strong for him, as this is his first round in quite a while. Philip Czerwinski is also in 6th, and Ty Youngstra, a return for him in P7, and the Optimum cars in 8th and 9th, and Christian Glanster round out the top 10 for now. There's still 2 minutes left in qualifying. What can change? Christoph Piscone is in the wrong car. For some reason, he needs to be in the PMP, but he's in the Aquili. But none the matter. He's gonna fix that for the race. Anthony Papadopoulos with a P6, 4/10 off of pole. Cody Nicola on pole bangs it out with 50 thousandths up in front of Magnus Hockenhaug. Oh, and Mark's it. Oh, okay. And there's a crash, and Mark was on a purple as well. And someone's rolling back. I think that's Chris Deximo. Lorenzo, you can continue if your internet is good.
Was it not good?
Yeah, you were lagging. Very, very bad. Very, very bad.
Funny enough, you were the one lagging for me, so it seems someone seems to be messing with us. Don't do that. Anyways, we see Ben Skinner. He set up purple sector 1. Will he be able to set up purple sector 2? He's getting slipstream off of... That is, I think, Brody Lawless, the car in front of him. And I think he might be able to get that purple sector 2. No, even with the slipstream, not enough for a purple sector 2. Will he be able to set pole position, though? With just 20 seconds left here in qualifying, this is his best chance, I think.
Cody
He will have one more lap. He does improve. He goes to 103.808089. I don't think Skinner will be able to best that. He does get a purple sector 3, but it's only good enough for P2 as it stands. Glomsetter is in the pit lane, so he won't be doing any more laps. There's still people out there doing laps. Ockenhaug, who is currently 4th, I don't think he'll be improving with those lines and that sector 1. Philip Czerwinski has set up green sector 1, and I think he might be able to improve here if he's lucky enough. Looked a bit unsteady there entering the turn. Will he be able to improve in his sector 2? As we see the... No, he won't. Unfortunately for him, yellow in sector 2. And I don't think Czerwinski will be moving up much higher than P10. Even P10 would be a good result for the Polish driver here. Anyone else on track after Czerwinski who we can spectate? As Jonas Karola moves up into P8 and Victor Bernat stays in P3. Czerwinski moves up to P8. Oliver Taras is in P5. And we see a couple of drivers crossing the line there. Is there anyone else still that hasn't crossed the line, Remco? There is David Junt in the Aquila. Again, the last car on track. He's currently 15, far shout from his P2 in qualifying for Akiyama. And I don't think he'll be improving, unfortunately, that much from P15. He's 0.8 off of pole position and he's 1.9 and 1.6 down respectively in sector 1 and 2. So unfortunately, I think David Junt will be destined for that P15 here today as he goes into the pit lane. And I think with that we can now confirm completely that Cody Nikolotkovsky, for the second time in 2 races this season, will be on pole position. Ben Skinner in the KKR Esports car, the Englishman on the first row of the grid alongside the Macedonian. Victor Bernat rounds out the top 3 in the Optimal Esports car. Magnus Hockenhaug P4, great qualifying for the Norwegian. Oliver Taras, after trying to do a last to first, decides to qualify this time around and goes into P5. Faiz Youngstra in the first Excellion in P6, Christian Glomsetter in the second Fox Esports in P7, Thiago Mello unfortunately drops from P1 all the way down to P8, Philip Chawinski in P9, and Jonas Kaudala rounds out the top 10 in the second Optimal. There we go. P11 for Brady Lawless, who unfortunately wasn't able to improve much from his lap time. Antonis Paprinopoulos in P12, Craig Patterson in the first Cyrex in P13, Lucas Sveilin in 14th in the second KKR, David Junt in the first Aquila in P15, and then Juho Sopanen in the first Velo 1 in P16. Chris Dexmo P17 in the second Cyrex, Mike Silagi in P18 in the second Aquila, and Leila Petralia in P19 in the second Velo 1, as well as Stavros Sarikas in P20 in the second Rizarin. And then the last 3 cars on the grid, P21 Eric Branner in the second Excellion, Krzysztof Piechikolan in what should be the sole PMP racing car. I am not quite sure why he's in the Aquila racing car. And Brando Tenorio, who didn't set a lap time in the one and only Provera racing car today. I do feel like we did see 23 cars.
Yeah, Christoph
A
left,
moment.
so the position glitched, and he's changing his car now.
Is he?
Looks like.
Right. Because I do feel like we did see 23 cars at a moment during qualifying, but I wasn't able to see which car exactly it was, as obviously we would be focusing on the people setting lap times as opposed to the people leaving, as one does. Right then, as we now go into warm up, any expectations for this race, Samuel?
Well, for the sprint race, I'm expecting a very, very different result from the double win Cody got last time. It's going to be 22 laps, but the track is short, and I don't think there's too many overtaking opportunities. The start-finish straight is basically it. So I think Cody's going to have a harder time getting to the field. So I see one of the reverse grid pole position, no, front runners, I mean, to get a win or just stay on the podium. And I think that the front runners of the actual championship will finish in the points, but none of the podium positions.
Interesting. I do wonder how this race will turn out, as obviously have people who weren't there for round 1, and we are missing people who were there for round 1. Both of the Valley cars that attended round 1 at Okayama, unfortunately not here with us today, so Massimiliano Riboli and Davide Zanini, both MIA today. Brody Lawless, who didn't attend Okayama, is here today, as I did mention during qualifying when we observed his hot lap, one of his hot laps. His wheel is fairly broken, so he is struggling ever so slightly. But even then, he was very close to finishing inside the top 10 in qualifying, so I feel like he would be definitely one to keep an eye out on. Anyone else we are missing? Cesare Rizzo is one we are missing. He did get that podium for Provera in the second race at Okayama. And Carl McManus is also missing for McManus Motorsports. Sarex have an entirely new lineup in Craig Patterson and Chris Deximo, which means Jiwoo Yoon is not here today. Brando Tenorio, who was signed to Cyrex for round 1, now signed to Provera as their reserve driver for today. Unfortunately, their full-time lineup of Cesare Rizzo and Rafael Orham not here today, so the only Provera on the car here today. Kordian Krzyminski also not here today in the PMP car. PMP seem to be missing quite a lot, and is unfortunate for me to say, as I feel like their lineup is a fairly comfortable midfield lineup, I would say. In Jakub Tonasco, who I was told will be missing the first 3 rounds due to education requirements, and Alfie Denley, who just isn't here for whatever reason. Anyone you can list that we are missing or
Um,
that we have gained from round 1?
let me think. Let me think.
Lucas Violin in the
Oh
second
yeah, Lucas
KKR.
Hyland is missing.
No,
Jakub
he's here today. He
Tonasco,
wasn't
Alfie
missing.
Danley. Alfie Danley?
Alfie Denley is missing. Lucas Violin
Daniel
is here though.
Scott, Robin
Oh
Marlin,
yeah, Spinardi. The Spinardis are missing completely.
Casper,
Kasper
Kuritz.
Kuritz, yes. Robin Merling, I was told, will be back for Optimal in round 3.
I see. All right, that's good. That's good to hear.
Daniel Scott and the entire Spinardi team are currently limited by the fact that Daniel Scott is in the midst of a environmental not good time, as it appears that there's been heavy snowfall in Scotland, so he's been rendered incapable of doing many things, such as driving. So very unfortunate to see that, and hopefully Daniel Scott and the Spinardi outfit do attend round 3 onwards. There's not much else we can say really, as we see that the formation lap has started, and I think we can read out the grid yet again. As the thing is that the first race is the reverse top 16 of qualifying, which means Juho Soppanen is on pole, David Junt in P2, Lucas File in P3, Craig Patterson P4, Antonis Papranopoulos P5, Brody Lawless P6, Jonas Carola P7, Philip Chawinski in P8. In P9 we have Thiago Mella and Christian Glomsetter to round out the top 10. Faiz Youngstra in P11 and Oliver Taras in P12. In P13 we have Magnus Ockenhaug, Victor Bernat in P14, Ben Skinner in P15 and Cody Nikola Latkowski in P16. In P17 we have Chris Deximo, I forgot. Mark Silagi in P18, Leila Petralia in P19, Stavros Sarikas in P20. In P21 we have Krzysztof Piecikolan, in P22 Eric Brenner, and P23 Brando Tenorio. Krzysztof Piecikolan, who's still in the Aquila Racing car, despite the fact that he is not signed to Aquila Racing. Not much really that can be said there, other than massive oversight on Piecikolan's part. Do not even know who you were driving for. Yeah, that's not really good. Hopefully he does change that for race 2, as we await all of the drivers to get lined up, and I think everyone is here lined up, as we are now on board with Lucas Filan, waiting for the red lights to go, and they're all on immediately and they're all off immediately, as Lucas Filan has a great start. Juho Soppanen had a very slow start, moves over to the outside unsuccessfully to defend. He's dropped down to P3 already, and Thiago Mello looks to have gone into P1.
Someone's off!
Someone's off into the grass and spins across the track. Unfortunately enough, only one car seems to have been collected there, but who was that? David Junt is now in P2, and Thiago Mello seems to be in P1. And
I think
that's
it was
Craig
Mark
Patterson.
Craig? Oh no.
There's people a lap down somehow already.
No, it's just because of the sector times.
Oh no, sorry, that's because Krzysztof Piecikolan, I think, is disqualified, so I think that might be causing a bit of an issue for our Factor 2. It's a funny old game. And I think that's David Junt in the lead, then, and Juho Soppanen, who is in P2. Brody Lawless is in P3, although I think something might have happened to Thiago Mello instead, because I don't think he can have that big of a gap immediately. So I think there might have been potentially some internet issues for the Brazilian, as we see he's dropped to where exactly? 17th, right. So
Okay, I
Thiago
think
Melo
now
did have
everything's
some...
right.
Right. Thiago Melo did seem to have some internet issues there, which catapulted him into P1, despite the fact he was most clearly not. Craig Patterson, unfortunately, was the car affected there in that spin, although it looked like a blue car was the one spinning across the track. As you see, 3 wide there through that hairpin, and I think that was Nikola Latkovsky who came out on top there. As we see someone eat a bit of grass on the inside of the hairpin there. Nikola Latkovsky already up to P9 in 2 laps from down in 16th. He's on a charge yet again. And he's not that far from Christian Glomsetter, and I think that gap will shrink fairly quickly. As we've seen Ben Skinner there, he was side by side with Victor Bernard, and Victor Bernard did have to go through the pit entry line. That's definitely something to be looked at potentially later. David Junt is still in the lead. Brady Lawless, as we see, I think that was one of the Aquila cars. I think that was Shilagi in the back who went onto the grass out of turn 1 and had to rejoin fairly shakily. As we see, yellow flags in sector 1 as well. Ben Skinner still holding up Victor Bernard, and there's a little train forming here now from quite a long way in front all the way to the back. Brady Lawless is going to look to attack David Junt here for the lead. Will he be able to do it though, Samuel?
Yeah, Brody Lawless, very, very experienced. David Young, even more experienced than Brody Lawless. I think there's going to be a big battle for P1 here, and let's see if Yuko Soponen and Antonis can catch up to them, because at the moment they're just about under a second back, but they still have a shot. There's a lot of laps left, even though the track is short.
Oh
and
no! Oh no!
mistake.
As Bro Flawless and Junt into the grass, Junt rejoins. No, that was Lawless, sorry, who rejoined. We're almost right into the path of Latkovsky, and I mean, that is quite a heavy blunder. No much else that can be said. I don't think much else should be said, really, and all we can say is we hope to see Lawless and Junt recover what they lost. As you see, Lawless ever so slightly tapping the back of Latkovsky's car there. Fortunately enough, not anything major that would unsettle the Macedonian's car. As Juho Soponen now inherits the lead in the first well of on, the team owner slash driver currently in first position after a fairly lackluster first round at Okayama. Antonis Paparinopoulos, though, is under a tenth behind the Finnish driver, although he's not on the correct line to try and initiate an attack into turn 1. Jonas Karola, the Finnish driver in the optimal car there. Paparinopoulos is in a bit of a Finnish sandwich here. Soponen in front of him and Karola behind him. He'll hope to dispose of Soponen as soon as possible so that he can try and build a gap in the lead, as he knows absolutely now that Latkovsky has also overtaken Junt. So Latkovsky is now in front of both of the drivers who were involved in that accident for the overtaking to turn 1 for P1. And Latkovsky is on a charge here, and Paparinopoulos and Soponen and Karola and Phelan will all know that, so they'll hope to get over one another here as soon as possible to try and build as big of a gap to prevent Latkovsky from overtaking them here.
I wonder what happened between David Young and Brody Lawless. I'm still just thinking about that. I think Brody was on the outside and David was on the inside, and then David understeered seemingly. And
Oh, as you see, Oliver
understeering
Taras going to
again.
the grass, and I think that was Karola on the grass as well. And Taras will not rejoin in front of Latkovsky. Latkovsky manages to have enough overspeed to make that overtake on the inside of the Englishman there. And Latkovsky now within 6 laps has gained 10 positions. And as we see, we already have our first proper DNF of the race in Provera's Brando Tenorio. Once everything settles down, as we see, that is the Velo 1 of Leila Petralia somehow managing to take control back of the car and make the overtake on Chavinsky, although I think that might have been more of a defensive move from the Italian driver there. Petrella is still in 14, although right on the tail of both Hockenhaug and Bernard. So this is a four-way fight here for P12. And oh, as we see, Hockenhaug is being squeezed there by Bernard, almost into the pit barriers. And we see someone touch the grass. And I think that was Petrella. Petrella is going to overtake Hockenhaug, but not going to be close enough to Bernard, which means the Italian goes into P13. And that was some fairly interesting, to say the least, defending by the Spaniard and Victor Bernard. Hockenhaug, I feel like, won't be particularly pleased by that, but there's nothing else he can do here other than try and re-overtake Petrella and attack Bernard yet again. As we see, Antonis Paparinopoulos has overtaken the second well one of Juho Sopanen for the lead at last, after about 2 or 3 laps of cat and mouse. The Finnish driver now falls into second, and Latkovski is already there. He's up into P5. He's overtaken Glamsetter. He's gained 11 positions in 7 laps. Now entering the 8th lap, and Latkovski is right on the tail of Lucas Filin. He's going to try and make a move on the outside. He's going to be blocked by that is Jonas Karola, as Filin tries and make a move on Karola, although it goes way too deep, and now Latkovski and Karola overtake both Sopanen and Filin. So now Karola is in second, Latkovski is in third, Filin is fourth, and Sopanen drops from second to fifth in the span of 1 corner.
Very interesting and close racing through the field. It's all so bunched up. Up to P11, it's basically in about 3 seconds between all the cars. So that's very tight racing, and a lot of actions unfolding very fast, faster than me and Lorenzo can speak, frankly. And Christian Glamstetter is on the move now for P5 on Juho Sopanen, who's been dropping ever since he went to P1. Christian managed to get the move stick almost, and he's basically ahead of him now, going on to the finish straight. And Oliver Torres trying to find a way to make it 3 wide. Maybe they are going to make it 3 wide, 4 wide even. Ooh, very tight racing. Keep it relatively clean. Someone's off. Oliver Torres, I think that was him. No, that was
Brody Lawless. That might have been Brody Lawless. That was Brody Lawless. Now drops from 9th to 11th. And he's going to try and claw back up. He's already behind Skinner there. And he's gone down the inside of Skinner. Will be able to make it stick. He will have the outside line here though for this upcoming hairpin, which means Skinner will have the better line. Although slides, he does slide, and he almost hits Faiz Youngstra there. He doesn't though, and Youngstra keeps P9, Skinner keeps P10, Lawless keeps P11 for now. As you see, there's a battle there between Sopanen and Taras. Sopanen weaving almost to try and keep Taras behind. It does work, although Taras does have to eat ever so slightly grass entering the turn, and I don't think Taras will be particularly pleased with that as well, but I think Taras will have enough speed to try and make a move on Sopanen in the next 2 laps. 3 maximum, as Lawless slightly taps Skinner, although Lawless is the one who loses out more, as now he's behind Victor Bernard. So the optimal goes up into P11 as Latkovski overtakes the other optimal of Kaurala for P2. So now
I'm gonna eat my words, Lorenzo. I'm gonna eat my words.
In what sense?
Cody Nico is already second. I said he's not gonna win. I thought it was gonna be someone different.
Oh, as we see,
someone's off
in the back, and we see Sopanen is also falling down. And we saw someone else falling down for a split second. Faiz Youngstra is falling down. He's down into P13. Sopanen is out of the race. Lawless has been overtaken by Bernard for P9. And I think there's something happened to Oliver Taras. Oliver Taras is up into P6. Chris Deximon and Magnus Hockenhaug are fighting. So something happened there between Juho Sopanen and someone else. We quite didn't see what happened as Cody Nikola Latkovski tries to make a move on Antonis Paparinopoulos around the outside of turn 1 for
What a beautiful move.
He's not made it stick quite yet. The Greek driver is defending from the Macedonian driver. That's definitely something that Balkan people will snicker at.
Yeah, indeed.
But there's still fighting there between those two. and Latkovsky is not able to overtake Paparinopoulos just yet, although he's very, very close to doing it. As we see more yellow flags, Chris Deximo is now another retirement in this race. Magnus Hockenach has been disqualified for some reason from the race.
I don't know how that happened.
Antonis
I have no
Paparinopoulos is building a slight gap on Latkovsky here through this last turn, although that gap seems to be almost immediately gone, and is within 3/10 of Paparinopoulos here. Latkovsky is going to have slipstream here to try and overtake yet again into turn 1. He goes around the outside yet again. He doesn't manage to make a stick yet again. Will he try the inside line here for turn 2? No, he's going to stick to the outside. Paparinopoulos still on the inside. Latkovsky not able to overtake him yet again, although they're still side by side. Lucas Farlin has now caught up to the pack of them. Paparinopoulos still has the inside line. Latkovsky, though, seems to have more speed, and Nikola Latkovsky, after 12 laps, starting in P16, finally takes the lead of the race. Paparinopoulos still trying to fight back, but it's not quite there. As you see, that was Glomsetter, who seemed to have been tapped by someone, as he's now dropping to P5. And Thailand is P3 now, Carola P4. Taras is now caught up to Glomsetter there, and Taras might try and make a move for P5 here into turn 1, Samuil.
Very, very good driving by Cody Nikola. It's sadly for us looking like Cody is going to be first again, so that doesn't make it too different from the last sprint race. But now Lucas Thailand going for a move down the inside of Jonas Kuroa, and there's, oh, that's not the old sector 1. I wonder where that's from. A bit of a love tap there from Antonis. Antonis still sticking around the outside, but doesn't quite have the grip. Now he's gonna have to defend from Jonas Kuroa. Jonas looking down the inside, but doesn't quite go for the move, and then everyone else is chasing behind them.
Absolutely, definitely some good racing. See, as we see Glomsetter trying to force a move on the inside of Kaurala, but he's too far back. He doesn't manage to make it stick. Although this time around he's closer. No, he's not. He's actually closer to Taras than he is to Kaurala there. And I think Taras, what I said last lap, that he tried to make a move into turn 1. I think this time around is much, much closer, as we see constantly yellow flags being flashed in sector 1, and we just don't know why. We can't see anyone who's stationary in sector 1, so it's just unknown to us as to why there's yellow flags being constantly flashed in sector 1. As we see, Antonis Paparinopoulos is still right behind Lucas Fyland, which has allowed Latkovsky to already build a 2.5 second gap to everyone behind him. And I think unless some unimaginable streak of bad luck now strikes the Macedonian, he's going to walk away with this victory yet again, and it'll be just a battle for P2 to determine really the people's P1, if you can even call it that. As we see, there's a little train now forming from P2 all the way down to, I think that is P11.
Yeah,
I think that might be P11, so that's about, what, 9 cars all in the... Oh, as we see, that is Paparinopoulos going wide out of the final turn. He rejoins, but he's losing positions. Paparinopoulos is dropping all the way down to P6, which promotes Kaurala into P3, Glomsetter to P4, Taras P5. Junt even manages to get past Paparinopoulos for P6. So Paparinopoulos is now in 7th. As we see, that is another car in the grass behind that. I think Ben Skinner, and will Victor Bernard be able to try and make an overtake on him there? No. Youngster, there's things happening between Patterson and Petralia. Youngster just overtook the both of them, as have Sarikas and Silagi immediately after. So something's happening in the back, as Petralia keeps dropping behind Brenna now as well. And something's happened to the Italian as she's limping along through turn 1. So now the yellow flags in sector 1 do have a meaning. But what happened to the Italian driver there? Could we take a look at it potentially? As we see, she's very, very unsure on her steering there. Very, very loose. And I think she might have sustained some damage, and we did see Craig Patterson also dropping down with her behind Faye Youngstra, so there might have been some contact between the two of them. Oh! Oh, that is... Who is that? That is...
Who is that?
that
Wow,
looks...
that's...
That looked to have been one of the... That looked
Well,
one of
that's
the
surprising.
Aquilas.
Yeah, that was probably Mark.
That was Mark Silagi who just lost it. Just lost it trying to think of an overtake onto... Who was that? Oh!
Just
That
very
was...
unsafe. Should have backed out. Definitely not go towards the racing line.
As we see, this was the
Craig.
race start as Craig Patterson went into the grass and spun across the track. There was one of the Fox Esports car affected there. Very unfortunate for Craig. This is the onboard POV of what happened.
He
Yeah,
kept
you can
on the
just...
throttle on the grass. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad for him.
While we're currently looking at this, could we also take a look at what happened to our DNFs of... No? Okay. There's more action to be seen, as we can see... As we see, Oliver Taras is now in that fight for the podium. He's up into P3. So something has happened to Carola while we were looking at the replay. So he's now down to P5. Phylan is still in P2. Taras is up into P3. Glomsetter still in 4th. Carola 5th. Jund 6th. And then Skinner and Bernard are now fighting for P8. So something might have happened behind that allowed him to climb up a place, because if I remember correctly, Skinner was in P9 and Bernard was in P10 before we checked the replays. Lawless now up into the top 10, Chawinski in P11, Yongshu P12, Sarikas P13, Silagi in 14th, Brenna in 15th to round out the points, Patterson 16th, Petralia 17th. As we see, Chris Deximo is in the pit lane now. He was listed as a
disconnected,
DNF.
I'm pretty sure.
He's disconnected. As we see, there's quite a lot of fighting here. Ooh, that is a very, very unexpected move from Paparinopoulos' point of view by, I think that was Jonas. No, that was David Jund. David Jund, who slid into turn 2 and lost many positions there. Oh, there's slight contact there. Paparinopoulos shunts Carola off. And the finish drive is into the gravel, and Paparinopoulos moves into P5. But even if he stays there until the end of the race, I don't think he'll stay there post penalties, because that looked to have been entirely on Paparinopoulos. He completely went into the back of Carola and sent him straight on into the gravel. There's still yellow flags being flashed in Sector 1 for an unknown reason. I can only assume that might be tied to Thiago Mello, who's 16 laps down. As Oliver Taras here now pulls alongside Lucas Phylan on his outside. And this is a battle we could have seen many times in GPWC Formula Sprint 1 this past year, as we see Christian Glomsetter now pulling alongside Oliver Taras, who goes very wide into turn 2 there, which allows Glomsetter to go into P3. So the Fox Esports car is now into P3. Taras drops down to P4. Ben Skinner is now up to P5. So he's gained what, 3 positions in 2 laps. And the Englishman in the KKR Esports car, and he'll be hoping to catch the pack of Taras, Glomsetter and Phylan as well to try and make a double podium for KKR Esports here. Will he be able to do it though, as he's got a bigger gap in front of him as opposed to behind him. Paparinopoulos is still within 2 tenths behind him, although that gap seems to be increasing now. Taras looked to have gone onto gravel there, or was that Glomsetter? Taras now has the slipstream on Glomsetter, but Glomsetter also has the slipstream on Phylan. Taras moves to the outside, as does Glomsetter. It was an almost 3 wide there, but not quite, and none of them move any positions. Jund, as Paparinopoulos overtakes Skinner. Ben Skinner goes into the grass there, so Paparinopoulos is now in front of him, and Jund also tries to make a move on Skinner there. And is he able to do so? No. Ben Skinner keeps P6 for now, so David Jund has to settle for P7, although Skinner looked very loose there, looked almost too wide. But Jund doesn't carry enough speed to try and make a move there. Lucas Phylan has dropped to P4, so Oliver Taras, something happened there between the 3 of them. Oliver Taras is now in P2 and Glomsetter is in P3, so something happened in that battle for P2. as Oliver Taras is now fairly comfortably a second in front of Glomsetter for P2. And Glomsetter is now fighting Filen for P3 with 3 laps to go.
Very, very close battling, although the group separated a bit now from P2 to P4, from P4 to P5, excuse me. There's a 2-second gap, and then there's a gap from P9 to P8. So yeah, it's the point scoring positions are split into 3 groups right now, with I think the KKRs making the most out of it and gaining the most points from the sprint round for now, as it stands. We're on the second to last lap, about to go on the last lap. So there's just a bit more action left in the tank for this race, as it's been very, very entertaining so far.
It has definitely been very, very entertaining, and there's many things we have missed, unfortunately, just like the case was for Okayama, and hopefully we do manage to take a look at some of those things once the race is properly over. As we see now, Ben Skinner is still trying to catch Antonis Paparinopoulos, who, again, after that contact with Cowdell, I don't think he'll be staying in P5 post-race penalties, although I think Skinner wants to beat him on track. As we see in the front, Glomset is still fighting with Filen. Filen went on the outside, but went into the grass, didn't manage to make the overtake. So now Filen is fighting Glomsetter still for P2, and Skinner is fighting Paparinopoulos as David Yunt goes into the grass there on the inside and drops to P8, Bernard up into P7. So Bernard now is going to look to try and catch up to Skinner and Paparinopoulos potentially in this final lap. Not quite close enough for David Yunt, though, I think, as Filen is dropping.
Lucas Filen.
Something has happened to Lucas Filen. As we see Koda Nikola Latkovsky, as Lucas Filen is spun around, is dropping all the way down to P12. He might drop down into P13 even. As we see Latkovsky about to cross the line for his 3rd win in 3 races here in OWSS. Amazing drive by the Macedonian to gain P15 positions. Oliver Taras up into P2, immediately goes into the pit lane. Glomsetter ends P3, Skinner 4th. Paparinopoulos 5th in the end. Bernard 6th, Yunt in 7th. Cherinsky 8th, Lawless 9th. Carroll rounds up the top 10. Is there any more battles going on that we have missed?
I'm pretty sure no.
No, I think... No, yeah, looking at the gaps, I think everyone, as it stands, is going to finish where they are currently on track. We're just waiting for everyone to cross the line, really. I do want to see what happened to Lucas Filen there. As we see Leila Petralia, the last person to cross the finish line. Does it in style, seemingly. No, Eric Brenner is... Has he crossed the line? Or are we still waiting on Eric Brenner? No, Eric Brenner has decided to park the car. Has he run out of fuel, Eric Brenner?
Yeah, he said he ran out of fuel.
Right, so Eric Brenner has run out of fuel, unfortunately, so he's the final lap, so he won't be listed as DNF, but let's look at what happened to Lucas Filen. Did he lose it on his own? That is... post-race, that's the wrong spin. What happened to Lucas Filen? Let's take a look. He just loses. He just loses the rear on his own. Oh! That is a very uncomfortable spot, as he also tags Brody Lawless ever so slightly, and I think that allowed... No, it almost
Brody
allowed
Lawless just
Brody
keeps
Lawless
it about...
He just about keeps it, but that almost allowed Brody Lawless to be overtaken by Jonas Kaurala. And... I don't know...
He shouldn't have really moved, but...
He shouldn't have moved, but it also is a very uncomfortable position, as this track is fairly small and fairly tight compared to other ones, only 2.7 kilometers long, this layout of Hampton Downs. So, although it is a very uncomfortable spot to spin out from, as we see what happened to some other retirees, Juho Sopanen just...
spins.
He just spins. I would love to see an
The
onboard.
Yeah.
Of what happened to Juho Sopanen. Was it driver error or was there any contact? That looked like Oliver Taras pushed him wide onto the gravel and then
I mean, his
just
tires are dirty. He brakes late, and then he
attacks the
loses
back of
it.
Oliver Taras,
Yeah.
spins himself around, and then many other people are involved, unfortunately, and Stoppinen decides he doesn't want any part in it. What happened to Brando Tenorio?
I think he just disconnected. Oh, never
No,
mind.
he goes into the wall. Took too much curb on the outside of turn 1 and bins it and decides, no, not for me. What happened to Chris Deximo? Did he disconnect or did he just outright crash? And what happened to Magnus Hockenhaug actually as well, as he's disqualified?
He got a penalty from the pit lane line.
Chris Deximo, he just disconnected.
Yeah, just disconnected.
Unfortunate for the Filipino driver. And Magnus Hockenhaug, what happened to him? Or we don't know. We will find out, I assume. Oh, that was right after Deximo. Oh. I'm being told by you. Is that a thing that exists, Remco? Because illegal overtake bug due to the driver in front disconnecting and him being disqualified due to it.
Oh,
if that's what happened.
Man, that's unfortunate.
Nevertheless, it's Cody Nikolatkowski yet again on the first step of the podium for the third time this season in equal amount of races. Oliver Taras into P2 for this race, his best result so far this season. Christian Glomsetter ends P3 to round out the podium. Ben Skinner in 4th, Antonis Paparinopoulos in 5th, Victor Bernard 6th, David Yunt in P7th, Philip Chawinski in P8, Brody Lawless in P9, and Jonas Kairala to round out the top 10. Oh, I'm having acid reflux, apologies. Faiz Youngstra in P11, Lucas Fall in P12, Stavros Sarikas in P13, Mark Silagi in P14, and Craig Patterson, the last of the points finishers. Leila Petralia in P16, Eric Brenner P17, Chris Deximo, first retiree, Juho Sopanen P19 as well, Brando Tenor in P20, in P21 we have Thiago Mello, who was supposedly a lap down, Magnus Hockenhaug, who got disqualified for unknown reasons to virtually everyone, and Krzysztof Piechikolan, who got disqualified for not being in his team's car, to be quite blunt with everyone watching. Very interesting race one, I would say, Samuil.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Cody still won, and things aren't looking too bright for race 2 because he's still going to be P1 as he qualified on pole.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be surprised if he doesn't have fastest lap since he was in the lead the whole time.
He might, but not necessarily, as there were people who had slipstream as well. So, you never know.
No, Christian Glamstetter had it. Excuse me.
Yep, there we go.
At least
Christian
he didn't get
Glamstetter
fastest
had
lap.
Yeah. Oh, the horrors for Cody Nikolatkowski to not get the fastest lap of the race. As Remco chuckles, and we dwell over what happened in race 1. Do you three feel like we should go on a slight break before race 2, or do we just keep on waffling about who? Yeah. Okay, so alright then, break it is.
Okay, we're back for the feature race for round 2. Very, very eventful sprint race, uh, like last time. So let's see what feature race has in store for us. So the feature race is 33 laps, and the commentators are still the same, and the broadcast director is still the same, and the track is still the same. So let's see how the grid is set. And
Not the same.
what do you mean, Lorenzo?
Well, the feature
Okay.
race was, no, the sprint race was the top 16 in qualifying reverse, and now it's not.
Oh yeah, true, true, true. Yeah, now actual qualifying order and someone's backwards. Wow.
Good thing it's not formation lap yet. And good thing I finished eating.
Wow. That was interesting. Nonetheless, formation lap started. I wonder who that was.
Hello?
Oliver Torres is still. Oh. Oh wait, it's running? Oh,
It's running!
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay, P9 Philip Jurinsky, P10 Jonas Kurowa, P11 Brody Lawless, P12 Anthony Paparanopoulos, P13 we have Craig Patterson, P14 Lucas Tylan, P15 David Young, P16 Juho Sopanen, P17 Chris Deximo, P18 Mark Silagi, P19 Leo Petragalia, P20 Stavros Sorikas, and P21 Eric Brenna and P22 Brenda Tenorio lining up the grid in last place. Excuse me for missing half of the lineups, but I was sorting out another issue. But nonetheless, P1 Cody Nikola Latkovsky, P2 Ben Skinner, P3 Victor Burnett, P4 Magnus Hockenhog, and P5 we have Oliver Torres, P6 Thijs Jongstra, P7 Christian Glamsetter, and P8 Thiago Mello.
We're running it back. Yeah. Alright then. The feature race here at Hampton Downs is about to get underway. The sprint race was very, very entertaining. This one has 11 laps more, which can always provide more entertainment, hopefully. As we see the last cars in the back approaching their grid slots. For some reason, the drivers in this league love to go backwards or forwards as opposed to where their grid slots are. And then we have scenes like this where is, I think, Lucas Phelan, who was all the way at the back, second to last. Now on, who's that? Who's only just got up to the grid slot in like P6? Was that Thiago Mello? Right, it doesn't matter now anyway. It doesn't matter anyways. As we have seen that the lights are out while we can't really see them. And Cody Nikola Latkovsky didn't have a pretty good start. As Ben Skinner moves up immediately into P1 and rockets away.
Brilliant start.
Already 4/10 of a gap between Skinner and Latkovsky. That is a stunning start there from the Englishman. And Thiago Mello already for some reason a lap down. Well, I do not understand what is happening to Brazilian today. As we see smoke in the back, I think there might be yellow flags waved soon, as I think someone might have been spun around. Chris Dexim and Craig Patterson, both of the Sarexes, did not have a good start there. Deximo is dropping down to P18. He's battling for P17 now with Petralia. And I think that was Patterson there who might have impeded one of the yellow cars. I think that might have been. I'm not quite sure. But either way, Ben Skinner is our leader at the end of lap 1. And he immediately rocketed off the grid. And very, very good start there by the Englishman.
I'm not too sure why Thiago Mello is one lap down again. No, actually it's fixed. Okay,
No,
never mind. Let's get back to the racing. Brilliant start by Ben Skinner, who's still leading. Cody Nikola 2/10 back and chasing, and then Magnus hogging up. I think the top 5 has roughly stayed the same. I think Thijs Jongstra has moved up though. Yeah,
And
just
something
about
is,
the same.
yeah, just about the same. Apart from Oliver Terrace and Thiago Mello, who've dropped 16 and 14 places respectively. Obviously, something has happened yet again to Thiago Mello. Same, hopefully not the same thing as in race 1, where Brando Tenorio seems to be out of the race. Or is he just back to where he started? No, he's just back where he started.
I think
This
he's
is
just back.
this is just the position intervals of how much they lost or gained. Thiago Mello is down to P21, 13 positions down to where he qualified. Oliver Terrace is 15 positions down in P20, so something
I think
has to
he's
have
doing
happened to them.
a last to first again.
And no, he can't be, because he qualified P5, so unless he intentionally just
He
did
intentionally
driver
did
error.
it, I think.
Unless he intentionally just went and did an adventure into turn 1 or somewhere, as we see someone else doing an adventure, and I think that is the return of Antonis Paparinopoulos, and indeed it is, and luckily he didn't lose too much time to the cars in front, but he definitely seems to be losing the gap between the cars behind him, as there's still more smoke behind. Someone's still going wide there, so not quite sure what's going on in these opening 3 laps. Many people are going wide as we see Stavros Tsarikas trying to make a move on Chris Deximo. There's still more bumping between the two of them, and it looks like both of them are unhappy with one another, because there was a lot of bumping and grabbing and everything there between the two of them. As we see now, Stavros Tsarikas is still in front, but Deximo thought of a move down the inside there, thought better of it. Ben Skinner is going to think of a move down the outside of Latkovsky here. Tries to make a switcheroo, but doesn't have enough speed, which means Latkovsky, after a fairly poor start to the race off of the line, is now back into P1 within 4 laps, and with another 27 laps left. No, not 27, maybe 27. Who cares about maths? The only thing that matters here is racing, and we're getting plenty of it in these opening 4 laps. As you see in the back, Eric Brenner has been overtaken by Oliver Terrace for P19. There's a little train already forming here between P3, and that is reaching all the way back. Faiz Youngstra is looking to be the one in the lead of this train. He's eyeing up Magnus Hockenheim, but Ben Skinner seems to be eyeing up Latkovsky as well, and he is currently in front, but Latkovsky has the inside line for that turn there, and they're still alongside a bit of a bump there by Skinner on Latkovsky, and Skinner seems to be in front for now, and he does stick it in front. Latkovsky is still there. He will have the inside line here for this hairpin, and Latkovsky goes back in front. Very good battling there between the Englishman and the Macedonian, but that has allowed Hockenheim behind to close the gap between them, and now there's a train all the way from first down to, I think that is P16, potentially P13. So almost the entire points paying position in sort of a slipstream train with one another. So anything can happen here. There's only lap 5 entering lap 6 of 33. And Ben Skinner is going to look down the inside of Latkovsky again here into turn 1. And he manages to make it stick. Latkovsky goes wide, but so does Hockenheim. So Hockenheim can't capitalize too much on it. Latkovsky now drops into second. Skinner lays the race for now. Hockenheim gained quite a lot of time there by braking later than the two in front of him, but he's dropping down a bit slightly yet again. Faiz Youngstra still keeping together with the 3 in front of him, and then it looks like the 3 behind him in Bernard, Longsetter and Lawless are slowly starting to peel away, although not quite. Although I might be equally as wrong, as Lawless is now alongside Glomset here for P6, and Glomset, a very good defensive move there from the Norwegian on the Englishman. Brady Lawless is close enough here though, and within slipstream range. Glomset has a bigger gap to Bernard in front than Lawless has to Glomsetter, so Lawless will hope for some slipstream help here. although he won't get it. Glomset is still getting slipstream off of burnout, which allows Glomset to keep in front of Lawless, although Lawless eyeing there something not quite there, but neither was Glomset there for an attack on burnout, and the three here are still keeping to what the original were starting the lap before this one.
Very, very interesting. Opening laps, we're in lap 7 already, and quite a lot of stuff has unfolded. Bodie Lawless right on the back of Christian Glamsetter, looking to size up a move. The grid is packed from P1 to I can't see where that is, but probably just about P15.
And again, as we see, Stavros Sarikas has yellow flags in sector 2, and Stavros Sarikas is dropping. He's dropped 3 positions, it seems. And Brandon Norrie is also a DNF, although I think that's happened earlier than Stavros Sarikas' incident. So something has happened to the Greek driver, and look at the gap between himself and Eric Brenner now. So something has indeed happened to Stavros Sarikas, and we are not quite sure what exactly. But it's very unfortunate as we see Faiz Youngstra here attacking Magnus Hockenhagen, succeeding in doing so for 3rd place. Very, very nice move there by the Dutchman. I think this is a fight that we'll see not only in this league but in GPWCFS2 as well through 2026. We'll see Christian Glomset has now lost 3 positions there. He dropped all the way to P9 from P6, so Lawless, Chewinski and Kaurala all overtook him, although he's looking to get back. He's gotten back at Kaurala, he's looking to get back at Chewinski. Will he be able to succeed at it though? It's 3 wide there almost. Kaurala pulls out of it, Glomset goes in front of Kaurala. Phelan was the one making 3 wide there, so Glomset now keeps P8 in this Scandinavian duel. Antonis Papanopoulos is looking to make it a 4-car duel there. Zlatkovsky and Ben Skinner are still battling one another for the lead. There's battling all around the place, and this is what you love to see in these cars, and this is what these cars are showing that they can produce in Okayama, and they're showing it here at Hampton Downs as well. Some very, very great battling, some very, very exciting prospects as well, just all around the field. No one feels out of place, no one feels weak, you could say. Everyone feels like they can battle one another, and you can just see it with Latkovsky there overtaking Ben Skinner, and now the top 4 are all close to one another. Silagi is trying to make a move on the outside of Patterson and goes into the gravel. Just keep it out of the wall. He does, but he does rejoin, almost right into the path of Juha Soppanen, and he's now dropped behind both of the Weller ones out of the points into P16.
Very, very tight racing. Cody Nicola got the better of Ben Skinner, but Ben needs to be chasing him down now if he wants any shot at winning. If he lets Cody get out of slipstream, but here he goes. Ben Skinner down the inside in turn 1. Doesn't quite manage to get it. As I was saying, he needs to get the move done quicker, because I don't think he's going to be able to catch up to Cody if he manages to get out of Ben Skinner's slipstream range. So yeah, Cody's going to be pushing hard. We don't know if pit stops are going to be a factor in this race. I doubt they are going to be, but maybe it's going to be worth it for some people. Maybe it could start raining, and that could change up the grid a lot.
There might be rain indeed. There was rain during qualifying, so rain is definitely a factor that we might be looking out for this race. There was none in the sprint race. The feature race, however, again 11 laps longer. This is a fairly short layout of Hampton Downs, 2.7 kilometers. However, we also didn't see many pit stops in the Okayama feature race. We only saw around 3 or 4 pit stops, and those were Ben Skinner, who's now battling for the lead. It was Magnus Hockenhagen as well, and it was Kordian Krzyminski in the PMP racing car that is not attending today, unfortunately. So only a handful of pit stops in the Okayama feature race. Will be interesting to see whether there's any changes in the pit stop practices for this race. As we see Lucas Stylin making slight contact there with Filip Chewinski, and he manages to make it through into P8 at the end of it. Although Chewinski is still there, he still has the inside line for this left-hand side hairpin, and Lucas Stylin is still alongside Filip Chewinski. They're still alongside now, going into the final turn. Someone is fighting. Someone looked to have made it 3 wide, potential in the back, or was maybe too far behind. I think that might have been David Yund, who was thinking of maybe attempting the move on Antonis Paparinopoulos, as Antonis Paparinopoulos is now defending from David Yund, instead of hoping to attack Christian Glomsetter, who seems to be attacking Filip Szawinski instead. Victor Bernard's just overtaken Brody Lawless for P5. And I think that might have been done into turn 2. David Yund has overtaken Antonis Paparinopoulos. There's 3 wide here between That's Filen, Glomsetter and Szawinski, and Filen prevails in the end. Szawinski is overtaken by Glomsetter as well. Yund overtakes Paparinopoulos. There's a massive 5-car battle here for P8, and this is amazing to see, Samuil.
Yeah, also Sector 1, I think Juho Sapanen might have spun out, and he's DNF'd.
So yet another DNF for Juho Sapanen, and he's got a double DNF here at Hampton Downs. Very unfortunate for the well-known team owner slash driver there. He's joined Brandon Tenorio in the list of 2 DNFs. Thiago Melo, he had again listed as 4 laps down for unknown reasons. Is he actually 4 laps down, or is this just a glitch?
It's some glitch.
It is a glitch. That is very lovely to see. You tend to love how this game functions at times.
Yeah, I think it too. It's very funny.
It's a very funny game. Sometimes you love it and then you remember, oh yeah, this is affected too. And things like that happen where a driver who's supposedly not 4 laps down is listed as 4 laps down. And where drivers get disqualified for making an overtake on a disconnected driver. As we see what happened to Juho Sapanen, he just loses,
Spins
goes
it out.
into, almost glides the small little hill there.
Just overdoes it a lot.
Overdoes it. He kept it on the throttle though, not max power, but he just kept it on the throttle. He goes into neutral and just gives up. Unfortunate there. I feel like he could have continued. I don't think that the damage he could have received would be massive enough to hamper his performances, but at the end of the day, it really is up to the driver to decide whether he wants to continue or not. I've felt many times during races where I just wanted to give up, but instead persevered and got better results than I probably would have if I didn't. And one driver who is persevering is Victor Bernard, who's looking to overtake Magnus Ockenhaug on the outside of turn 2 there for P4,
Very
but
loose.
isn't able to. Very loose indeed, as you pointed out, Samuil. And Victor Bernard will be hoping to still try and make a move on Magnus Ockenhaug into turn 1 up in the upcoming lap. Although Brody Lawless might have something to say about all of that as well. He's very, very close. Victor Bernard looked very, very loose there again, neither that hairpin. And Lawless almost managed to get alongside him, but not quite. There was a slight bit of contact, but that is so inconsequential contact that I don't think it was even worth mentioning it. As we see Oliver Taras being overtaken by Lola Petrelli in the back, there's a battle for P15, but I want to keep my eyes on this battle for P5, P4. Victor Bernard looking to try and make a move on the inside of Magnus Ockenhaug. Ockenhaug is closing the door, which allows Lawless behind to close the gap, but not big enough. Victor Bernard now goes to the inside. Lawless to the outside is 3 wide into turn 2. That's contact. Ockenhaug is round. Victor Bernard managed to go through into P4, but Ockenhaug is slightly tagged by Brody Lawless, and now Ockenhaug is forcing Lucas Filen off the track. That is uncalled for, and Lucas Filen is now forcing Ockenhaug off the track.
Through goes Christian Glomsetter.
Through goes Christian Glomsetter. Completely uncalled for by both drivers there. Ockenhaug is now tapping the behind of Lucas Filen. Christian Glomsetter out of nowhere moves up 2 positions, and I think that was Jonas Carola in the front who went slightly on the grass exiting that hairpin. And I mean, let's take a look at that again. Thank you very much, Remco.
I think Magnus was frustration defending after this happened.
Oh, I think that. Tell you what, if we can take a look from the onboard of Magnus Ockenhaug, and it almost looks as if Ockenhaug didn't see Filen trying to make it on the outside, but mirrors exist for a reason, you could say. So I do want to see the onboard of Magnus Ockenhaug.
Oh, that's just very unfortunate. Very Very bad from Brody Lawless.
Yeah, it looks like there's nowhere that Ockenhau can go here.
Nope. Yeah, that's not on him
Enough.
for sure.
That is definitely not on Ockenhau. I do feel like this could be on Brody Lawless, as he does have more space on the outside to still keep it free wide through the turn. Although he turns in as if he thinks that Ockenhau will yield, except Ockenhau doesn't yield. And look how much space Lawless has on the outside there still. He turns in as if Ockenhau will yield automatically to him. And he just stacks him and spins him around. Although I want to see the onboard of Lucas Filin as well, as he was also affected there. We see Craig Patterson also seems to have been affected by just general
Very
unluckiness.
close call.
Just general
Hitting the outcome.
unluckiness for Craig Patterson, and he is out of the race. So Craig Patterson, unfortunately, out of the race. That is our third DNF of the day. And as we return back to what happened between Filin and Ockenhaug before we resume with the live action, Filin does look to the outside, and Ockenhaug just lets his car sail into the path of Filin.
I don't think Magnus expected it.
Filin does turn his wheel indeed there. You could see his wheel snap to the left very clearly to tap Magnus Ockenhaug, which allowed Christian Glomsetter to move in front of the both of them. And Ockenhaug has now dropped to P12, so it seems like he has sustained damage from both Thailand and Lawless, which has hampered his performance quite significantly, and he's gone from fighting for P4 to fighting for scraps. Really, as we see, that is Christian Glomsetter spun around in the back, and he still kept it going, but that is going to be very, very heavy damage for the second Norwegian. And now both of the Fox Esports cars are going to be battling for scraps. It's free wide yet again. That's Antonis Paparinopoulos in the Rizran, who almost made it free wide. He's overtaking Glomsetter, and Ockenhaug is now helping his teammate here for sure. He lets it sail yet again into the path of Paparinopoulos. Although Paparinopoulos managed to keep in front of Glomsetter, Ockenhaug does seem to slow down intentionally quite a bit more through that turn to allow Glomsetter through back again. And it works. Glomsetter is now back in front of Paparinopoulos, and Paparinopoulos ends up gaining 2 positions. Is back to where he started. Instead of P11, it's P13 for the Greek driver, and I'm sure he'll be unhappy with that. He tries to make a move on Glomsetter here on the inside. He's still
and he manages to do it.
He still manages to do it, but Ockenhaug will be giving Glomsetter the slipstream here. Their teammates, after all, obviously. And that is, I think, Thiago Mello. Who's supposedly 4 laps down, but not really. And Glomsetter loses the position to Paparinopoulos. Does he lose it to Thiago Mello as well?
Going for the move.
Quite yet. Paparinopoulos goes down the inside of Ockenhaug, and he makes the move stick. So Paparinopoulos goes up into that P11 after all. Thiago Mello, that is a very ambitious. That is a very ambitious dive bomb there, and
very
it
ambitious,
makes it
works.
work. That makes it work. Thiago Mello goes up into P12 supposedly, even though he's 4 laps down. I think he's battling for the points here, and that is a very, very ambitious move. And a very lovely move by the Brazilian there indeed. Oh, I need a drink.
Very, very good move by Thiago Mello, and lovely driving from Antonis as well, who had a bit more of a scuffle driving style in race 1, but this time around, very, very clean, very methodical. I like the moves.
Absolutely, and you mentioned that Ben Skinner will want to stick with Cody throughout this race, as there might be pit stops, but also might not be. The gap is now 5 seconds between them, and Faiz Yongstra has scored Ben Skinner instead. So Yongstra and Skinner will be battling for P2 here, with 14 laps to go now, entering 13 as Latkovsky is going to be rounding that final turn very soon, as we see him there in the distance. Skinner doesn't look too comfortable with his tyres. I feel like that might be something that's hampering him.
He mentioned that last race as well.
He doesn't look to be too good at tyre saving on these tyres. And I think Yongstra will look to capitalize on that, as there's again 13 laps to go now. And look at the gap, there's 2 attempts between the 2 of them, And the youngster is gaining massively, of course, with the slip chain. Will the youngster go to the inside or the outside? He goes to the inside. Skinner will be a sitting duck here, potentially. No, not quite. It's still alongside, although youngster now peels away into the front as Skinner goes wide.
I think this is going to be the first P2 potentially for Excellion Motorsports and OWSS. If Ty's Youngster can hold on to P2 for 12 more laps, which is quite a lot of time, but nonetheless that could still bring a very, very good result for them as Eric Brenner is only in P17.
Absolutely, and we've seen Magnus Hockenheim here battling Oliver Terrace. That is something that I wanted to bring up myself, but luckily enough we have Remco on cameras. Thank you very much, Remco. And Terrace does go into the front of Magnus Hockenheim. Hockenheim does make a switcheroo though, and he's still currently in front, although Terrace still alongside him. Hockenheim will have the inside line here. He still keeps it P13 as we see Glomsetter there in front. Eat a bit of gravel on the exit of that turn, and Terrace is still alongside Hockenheim. He still has the outside line for this right hand side turn. He still doesn't make it to stick. Oh, slight tap there by Oliver Terrace. Oh, a bigger tap by Hockenheim there. And that's allowed Chris Dexter behind to lower the gap between himself and Terrace. And now he's alongside Oliver Terrace. Chris Dexter is going to look to make a move for P14. Now he's pulled out. Terrace is struggling a lot. He's drifted almost through the exit of turn 1 there. Apologies for acid reflux. As Oliver Terrace now seems to be struggling either with tires or maybe with damage that he sustained from Magnus Hockenheim. Oh, very, very loose there by Oliver Terrace. And Chris Deximo doesn't manage to make use of that. And he's still in P15, the Filipino driver. As we see yellow flags in Sector 1, as they're cleared very soon. I think
Pretty
they
sure
might be
Leia
Australia. She's dropped behind Eric Brenner.
That puts Eric Brenner in the points. He's got 1 point now. Yep.
I thought it was P15. I thought it was top 15.
No, but, since we're 16 teams now, and it's 32 drivers, it's top 16 points.
Interesting.
Interesting
Alright then.
indeed.
So that means that Leila Petralia here is going to have to re-overtake Eric Brenner for that final point. If Wello want to come out of New Zealand with anything in their bag,
Actually, I lied about the top 16 thing. Never mind. I don't know. I was bugging because of the qualifying thing.
Told you.
Yeah, I was bugging.
Don't doubt me. Actually, you
I
can't.
will never doubt you, Lorenzo Eterovic-Funcic.
That's not a smart thing to say. Anywho, we go back to live action racing with 9 laps to go now. No, sorry, 10. Latkovsky has already crossed the line, which means Bernard now has to overtake Ben Skinner. No, sorry, Latkovsky's only just now crossed the line, so there's 9 laps to go, which means Bernard has 9 laps to overtake Bernard. Bernard has 9 laps to overtake Bernard. Skinner is behind Bernard, so Skinner has to overtake Bernard if he wants that P3 back. Farden has overtaken Carola for P6, it seems. Or is he defending from Carola for P6? Who knows? I didn't get to see.
I'm pretty sure Lucas is defending.
I've seen more yellow flags in Sector 1.
Ben's kind of dropping down a lot. Oh,
that
someone's
is Antonis Paparinopoulos. That is Antonis Paparinopoulos. And Brody Lawless is now in P4. Skinner's been overtaken.
Oh, I have a bad feeling about this already.
Antonis Paparinopoulos just loses it on his own.
Oh, and hits the wall. That's so unfortunate.
That is so unfortunate. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if there was no pit wall there separating the pit exit from the track, I think Paparinopoulos could have kept it.
I mean, he was probably gonna be standstill in the apex sideways. Which could have been worse.
Disagree. No. I think he could have kept it with the throttle on. He would.
I mean,
he just would have went through the. He just would have went through where the pit exit is, where there was no.
But you see, now the tires are catching up. They're worn, and drivers are getting caught out. Antonis, very much less experience than some other drivers here. Nobody's pit because pit lane limiter is way too slow to be worth it ever. But hopefully for the next rounds, that's gonna be fixed. Like the track isn't gonna be bad, and we're not gonna have that issue, and people are gonna be pitting. Nonetheless,
I wouldn't say
Oliver
the track is
Torres
bad.
fighting.
I'm quite a big fan of this track, and
No,
here's a
the
good
the
reason
track
why.
itself is good. I mean, the pit lane like
Ah.
limiters to the other tracks. Hopefully, they're not bad.
But yes, the track is indeed good, as you can see, with this battle between Oliver Torres and Magnus Hockenheim for P12. These two seem to have been battling for quite a long time, just for different positions at different points of the race. More yellow flags in Sector 1. Chris Dexino, I think, has disconnected yet again. Leila Petralia has also disconnected, which leaves us with 16 drivers only for this race. 17 actually, because Thiago Mello, even though he's listed as 4 laps down, is still actually in the race for points. We just don't know what's really happening to the Brazilian driver. Hockenheim and Torres are robbing there, and Hockenheim goes onto the grass, and that's completely unprompted, as Torres didn't push it wide. He just kind of decided to do that on his own, really. At least it looked like that from this point of view, as Hockenheim is still eyeing up Oliver Torres, although he's lost time because of being on the grass, and I think he'll be able to make a move on this lap. Although for next lap, he might just have enough slipstream to try and think of something to turn 1 yet again. But will he be able to make it stick this time around, Samuil?
Let's see. I think Magnus is currently better in these cars maybe than Ollie. Ollie's struggling maybe a bit today, to be fair. Since last race he did last first again, and he had a very good outing in the future race, but this time around not so strong. He's basically kept in the midfield. Magnus Hockenheim really close. Is he gonna size him up for a move for turn 1? Yes, indeed he does. He sends it. It's a bit too ambitious though, and he pushes Ollie off the track slightly. He gives it back though. He knows he was in the wrong.
And Oliver Torres does keep P12 for the time being. And one thing that happened while that action was taking place, Jonas Carola has dropped from P6 down to P8, and Lawless has also dropped to P7. As we see, Brody Lawless now the wrong way around the track. Oh! Not quick enough on the brakes there from Brody Lawless, and he has to move from there. He has to move from there, but there's way too many drivers. There we go. Finally, enough of a gap between himself and the next upcoming car to be able to move onto gravel, and I think Brody Lawless is going to retire. Which means we are down to 15 drivers with
Did he spin on his own?
To go. Did he spin on his own? That's a good question. I think he might have. Ooh! That is where he lost P4. Again, we did mention during qualifying that Brody Lawless is racing with a broken wheel. He has essentially one hand on his steering wheel and one hand on his keyboard, so I think the tyre wear eventually caught up to him and he just couldn't really handle everything all at once anymore. Although I'm not happy with how he let the car roll for about 2.5 to 3 seconds there. He could have almost hit one of the cars there, almost 3 cars. Leila Petralia, what happened to you, my friend? You ate grass and then ate wall. That is very unfortunate, and it seems that is another double DNF for Wello 1. I think the second of this season, or maybe the third. I'm not quite sure how Okayama ended. Anyhow, Thiago Mello is still for some reason listed as 4 laps down, and his teammate Nikola Latkovsky with 4 laps to go is still leading by a 7-second margin over FaZe Youngstra. As you see, Christian Glomsetter battling here with Filip Czerwinski for P8, and there was some slight contact there between the two drivers. Czerwinski now, I won't say forced, but had the door shut on him, which forced him to go wide, which allowed Glomsetter to keep P8 for now. And it looks like Thiago Mello is P10, if not for the visual glitch that is occurring in front of us. And that is Oliver Torres up into, that's Mark Silagi who's battling here for P10. So the Hungarian, who's had a fairly quiet race, fairly uneventful race, is looking to bring some fairly strong points for the Spania team in Aquila Racing, as his teammate David Junt is up in P6 as well. Oh! No, everything seems fine with Silagi as he goes onto the grass, and not all is fine with Silagi. He hits the wall very heavily. Will he continue? He will continue, but he'll have to stop here for quite a long time to let people through safely, and he's dropped from battling from P10 to P12. P13, sorry, and that's heartbreaking for the Hungarian. I just praised him, and it seems I shouldn't have, as the commentator's curse has done its work again. Victor Bernat, the team owner of Aquila Racing, who we just saw one of the cars of spin outside of turn 1, is now approaching turn 1 and hoping to gain another position for himself in P2. He's very close to Faiz Youngstra. There's 2 laps left here for Victor Bernat to try and clinch P2. Faiz Youngstra goes very wide.
Big mistake from him.
He slides very wide, and Victor Bernat gets that P2 way easier than he would have thought he would. And Victor Bernat now has to hold on for another 1.5 laps from Faiz Youngstra. I think Faiz Youngstra, his tyres, especially after that as well, they might be slightly overcooked. I don't think Faiz Youngstra might be able to challenge Victor Bernat here for P2, Samuel.
He has about 2 laps. Maybe if his tires are overcooked now, he can't challenge immediately, but he still has the opportunity and just a bit. Is there any battles anywhere else? Maybe Lucas Tyler with Ben Skinner. Oh, never mind. Here in the back. Oliver Torres. No. Who is this? I can't tell.
This is Thiago Mello.
No, yeah, this is Thiago Mello, but who is he behind? Oh, yeah, that's Paparinopoulos?
That is Paparinopoulos. No, that's Chawinski.
Oh yeah,
that is Philip Chawinski that he's behind. So Thiago
battle for P9.
P10. No, battle for P8, I would say so, because Philip Chawinski is not far from Christian Blomstetter.
Yeah, indeed.
So while there aren't many big battles for big positions, although having said that, Lucas Vagn is approaching his teammate Ben Skinner for P4 very fast. Half a second between them. It seems like the biggest battle here is going to be for P8 between Lomstetter, Chawinski and Thiago Mello, who, again, for just unknown reasons, because this is quite a nice game to drive on Factor 2, is 4 laps down, despite the fact that he shouldn't be 4 laps down. David Junt is approaching the 2 KKRs, but I don't think it'll be enough time for him, as we saw yellow flags in Sector 2. We see Antonis Paparinopoulos overtake Oliver Taras for what should be P11, so something has happened to Oliver Taras, the sole McManus Motorsports car today. Was it driver error, or was it just... It was indeed driver error. Ooh, he did well to get out of the way of Paparinopoulos in time. That could have ended much worse for the both of them. And I want to see the onboard of Paparinopoulos for that, thank you. I want to see how close he was. Almost. Ooh. Good thing he did there to slow down slightly more and gain more from it. So Antonis Paparinopoulos is going to finish in P11, I think. As we see, there we go. Thiago Mello is now listed as on the lead lap, as he should be. As we see, his teammate Cody Nikolatkovsky fairly comfortably crossed the line. And I think that was Faiz Youngstra there. No, that was...
It's very close. Just doesn't manage to get it.
Lucas Violin hasn't overtaken Ben Skinner, which means that the battle between... Oh, sorry, no. It seems like all of the battles have subsided, and the way it is will be the way it ends, as... There we go. Carroll crosses the line. That is Magnus Hockenheim on fire. Thiago Mello falls out again for some reason. Antonis Paparinopoulos P11, Oliver Taras P12. I think everyone else has completed their laps. Am I right, or am I right? There we go.
Yes.
Magnus Hockenheim feeling cozy.
Yeah, very warm, close to the fire.
It is winter after all.
Yeah, you gotta stay heated. You gotta stay ready. You
Well,
warmed
I say
up.
it is. Well, I say it is winter. Theoretically speaking, it is summer currently in New Zealand. And one person who's having a very good summer by New Zealand standards is Skoda Nikola Latkovski. Yet another P1 for the Macedonian driver. He's now won 4 of the 4 races in Season 2 of OWSS, so he's very much dominating this season. Victor Bernat, I think that's another podium for the Spanish driver, and also his second one in the feature race, this time P2. Faiz Yongstra on his return to AWSS in P3, Ben Skinner in P4, Lucas Filin in the other KKR in P5, David Junt in P6, Jonas Carola in P7, Christian Glomsetter in P8, Thiago Mello in P9, and Philip Chewinski rounds out the top 10, despite the fact it says P9 for both Mello and Chewinski, never mind that. Antonis Papranopoulos in P11, Oliver Terrace P12, apologies, Mark Silagi in P13, Eric Brennan P14. In our
15.
first of the lapped cars, Stavros Sarikas also P15 in the lapped car, Magnus Augenhaug, the only driver to finish this race without gaining points, also lapped down in P16, and then our retirees, Brody Lawless P17, Leila Petralia P18, Chris Teximo P19, Craig Patterson P20, Juho Sopanen, if I'm not mistaken, P21, yes, and Brando Tenorian P22 in the Sol Pravera racing car. And I must say, these 2 races that we had here at Hampton Downs, Samuel, have been very, very good.
I like the feature race a lot. I liked it a lot more than the sprint race. Even though the sprint race was realistically more entertaining, I just feel like the feature race was more of how racing is supposed to be. It was very much more clean. Everyone was very calm. Wasn't rushing. They weren't rushing for moves except for that Magnus through wide moment with Brody. And yeah, overall, I'm very happy with it.
Yeah. And I think now that both the races are over and everything else is over, one thing that's left for us to do is really the interviews if anyone wants to do. Oh, well, isn't this lovely? We now have our own calendar graphic. This is very nice.
Lovely indeed. I wonder who
Ram-
we can thank for that. Hmm.
I do wonder. Thank you, Remco. Everyone say Remco. Say thank you,
We all
Remco, in
love
chat.
Remco. Homo as
Alright.
well, guys.
Yeah, we're all accepting here and everything of that nature. But as you can see here, Kyle Lamy is next up next Wednesday, followed by a little bit of a European adventure. First, Le Mans Bugatti circuit in France, then Misano for the Italian race. Brandt Sachs returns, the one of 2 tracks from Season 1's calendar to return alongside Okayama, and then Royal Atlanta in USA, North Atlanta Motorsport Park, and finishing the season at the Dubai Autodrome on February 25th. Very nice. Do we go into the interviews now?
Yes, indeed we do,
I say we
bro.
go
And
into the
who do we
interviews.
start off with? Do we
Uh,
get Cody in here first again?
I mean, he's first on track. I say we get him first into the interview booth as well.
All right, let me pull
Or do,
him in.
or do we feel? Or do we feel? Nah, no, you don't
Too
feel that.
late now. Too late
Too
now.
late, indeed. Cody, hello there. How are you, mate?
Hey Lorenzo, I'm doing all right, and if I'm back in this interview channel, then obviously something went right. So yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, something's gone right for you, but I feel like many people will feel like something has went wrong for them to, I mean, have to fight you for the wins. It's been 4 races now across 2 rounds in OWSS Season 2, and you won all 4 of them. I mean, you keep humbling yourself, and that is very respectable. But for how much longer do you feel like you can keep yourself as humble as you have with these results?
Look, I think a lot of people are looking at OSS as a bit of a off season. and as preparation for GP VWC. So look, we've got a lot of fast people here, a lot of talent that's concentrated towards the front, sharp end of the field. But there's definitely room for the competition to be even more stiff. So I think maybe in a future season, if this championship grabs some more traction, those performances that I'm pushing out right now, I don't think they're going to be as clear cut as they are right as is. So yeah, I mean, obviously very happy. The pace was decent overall. The rain didn't come when I thought it was going to arrive, but yeah, some small bits and bobs here and there. You've got Ben also giving me a run for my money in the first part of the race. So, props to him for keeping up and, fighting the hard fight. And yeah, it's battles like that that I really appreciate. So, I may be one of the fastest guys on the grid, but, I really enjoy these battles and, I hope we can keep having them as the season goes on.
I I very much second that statement. I think most people can second that statement as well. Uh, these cars have provided some very, very good fights over these four races, and as you said yourself, there's many, many good talents across the grid. I wouldn't just limit myself to the front of the grid. I'd say the entire grid has quite a lot of talent.
Mm.
Would you say that these cars, in a way, help the drivers on the grid bring out their talent a bit more?
Yeah, there is a specific driving style that I'm starting to pick up. Uh, that it's specific in a sense that a lot of people can get used to it quickly, but extracting the absolute maximum out of it is that's at 1% that's left. So I think everyone here, is able to grasp the idea of this car very easily. Get up to speed fairly quickly. Uh, and obviously, I think this car is one of those that really puts on a lot of racing because you can hold when you have to go around the outside, you have to throw the car in a bit more. So you have to slide it a bit more aggressively. The guy on the inside, he has to be a bit more careful. So because this car has such a generous slip angle, it's actually a bit of an advantage for the guy on the outside. So, people going for a bit more daring moves, trying to, really put themselves out there. This car allows that, and that obviously will put up for good racing. So, yeah, I think it accommodates a lot of people's driving styles, but to get really, really fast with it, you have to look into the details a bit more. But I'd love, for this car to be a bit more of a more common sight.
Hmm. Have you got any questions for Cody here, Samuel?
Cody, it's only round two, but do you feel like you're already in for the championship favorite, I guess, position? And do you think anyone can challenge you?
I would say I'm in a very good spot considering it's only the beginning. There's still a lot of chances for Ben, Reuven, Thies, a lot of names that can and Jonas that can really bring it back if the rest of the season goes their way. So I'm happy with this buffer, but yeah, I'm obviously gonna look behind my shoulder just to be sure because who knows? Ben, if he puts in enough practice, uh, yeah, I don't think I would be able to keep him at bay for very long, for example. So yeah, and if Brody fixes his wheel, yeah, I'm going to be in big trouble.
That
Remco said
Brody
he's gonna
has
drive next round. So he gives you a proper challenge. That's what he said. He says you're a fraud and you're not good.
I won't be
boy.
having that, Remco. But I did hear that Brody has ordered himself a new wheel, but I don't know whether that's going to be coming his way before January. No, before January, before February, because Amazon is Yeah, I think the blank fills itself in.
Look, fingers crossed. Hey, the more competition, the more people that are in a position to fight for podiums and wins, the better. And everyone enjoys a good challenge, and I'm no different. So I welcome it.
And we welcome them as well, and we welcome you to this interview booth yet again, and we hope to see you in it next week as well after Kailami. Cody, thank you for joining us.
It's a
Thank
pleasure,
you,
Lorenzo.
Cody.
Samuel, take care. See you.
Take care, Zeeuw. See you.
Take care. I think next up we bring the excellent pairing of Eric Brenner and Thijs Jongstra. Would you agree?
I think we bring in Thijs Jongstra, but why do we bring in Eric Brenner?
Because we would like to hear from both Excellions.
Okay, let's see.
Or at
Both
least
ends
I
of the
would.
spectrum now.
Exactly.
Let's see. P3 and
Let's
P, I don't know what.
P was P15, I think it was for Eric.
Eric,
Nevertheless,
where did he finish?
welcome to the Excellion teammates of Thijs Jongstra and Eric Brenner. Can you two hear us?
Yeah.
Right.
Good to
How
hear.
would you two talk us through your races? Let's start off with you, Thijs.
Well, my race one wasn't really special. I started P11, finished P11, but I wasn't quite fortunate. I got held up. People crashed in front of me, and I couldn't go anywhere. So that's what happened in race one. The race two was really good. I felt really good in entire race. Had good pace, and yeah, I bottled P2 in the end a little bit, but that's fine. Victor was so much faster in the end, so yeah, he was gonna overtake me nevertheless. But overall, very happy.
What about you, Eric? We did see you struggle at times slightly, but you still got points, I think, in both races at the end of it, so that's nothing to be ashamed of.
I'm having a huge problem with the car. I don't know why, but there it shows the wrong fuel all the time. So in race one, I was looking to get points, but then even though I filled like 5 liters more than I needed, I had no fuel and I had to pit, so I went P17 just outside of points. I was also I'm also going to I'm not gonna say names, but I'm going to report 2 drivers today because both of them, one pushed me wide, went for the dive bomb and just pushed me off track, and the other closed a gap that was not there. So I lost time and positions because of it. But apart from that, I think it was okay. It's not good for my part, but at least Kies did good. It's for the team.
Absolutely. It's points for the team, which is the most important. And now that Thijs is back, as he was absent for Okayama, do you feel like after you iron out your differences with the car that the two of you could put on potentially a fairly serious attempt at the team's championship with Excellion?
I think that's very possible. I would like to think of myself as a solid midfielder for now, but if I get along with the car a little better, I think there's a real shot here. But it's gonna take some serious work.
What do you think, Thijs?
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. But we gotta be realistic. We have someone from a certain team who's legit winning everything, so it's gonna be very difficult. But yeah, it's if we just put in the work and get decent results, we can definitely fight at the front.
Right then, seeing as next week we have Kyalami, very, very much longer track compared to Hampton Downs today. How do you two expect to go around it in regards of practice and potentially any maybe pit stop plans or anything? Or have you yet to try these cars around the track? I would assume so, as we've only had Hampton Downs today.
Maybe, I think it would be best not to discuss strategy in an interview.
This makes sense.
Maybe we're going to keep it within the team, but thank you for asking.
No, yeah, It is something that I was interested in, as across the 2 rounds and 4 races we've only had 3 pit stops that were done willingly, and all 3 of them were done in the Yokoyama feature race. So it would
I did
appear
2 of
that
them.
it does appear that pit stops don't look too popular with drivers this season. Although we do see in the feature races both Yokoyama and Hampton Downs here today, Zeeuw a fairly good example with how you sort of sailed wide into turn 2 and lost P2 to Victor. Tire degradation seems to be quite a noticeable thing with drivers, so it just surprises me that pit stops aren't more common.
Tires are not a problem for me. I don't usually waste a lot of tires, so for me it is as long as I'm not completely sliding, I'll be fine.
I see. Do you have any questions, Samuel?
No, because you asked them 10 questions and you didn't leave anything for me to ask.
Apologies.
Oh no.
It's okay. It's okay though.
All right then. Well, if there's nothing else yet left to ask, then all we can say is thank you to both of you, Eric and Faiz, for joining us on track and here in the interview booth. And I do hope to see you again next week.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
will
we
we will
will.
be there if we can.
We will be there no matter what.
We will be there.
The
I
Big
like to
Brother is
see you
always
guys-
watching.
This guy turned into.
Oh my days.
Okay, I'll call it quits.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Okay.
having us.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank you,
joining us.
guys.
Lovely to have you as well. Do we get someone else in?
we-
Super Yopa, definitely.
We
And
have
Christian
Jonas, we
Glamstetter.
have Juho, and Christian Glamstetter. Do we bring in Juho as well? Actually, with all due respect to Juho, he did have a double DNF.
Yeah, I can't really say much.
Philip
So let me bring
Chawinski is
in-
back in the VC.
Let's bring in these 3 because they were fighting a lot.
Hello.
Yeah, let's bring in
You're
Jonas
all
and Philip
here.
and Christian. You're all here. You're all being put on the spot immediately.
Hello.
Okay, let me ask the first question to our
Yes.
lovely interviewees because Lorenzo talks way too much. So, guys, what do you
Talk.
think about the racing today? How was the sprint? How was the feature? How can you compare the races? And did you like the standards? Or what can improve?
I guess I can begin if no one's talking. Well, the
Sure.
race was definitely better than Okayama for me, and the raw standards were definitely better. I could race without getting killed, basically. And well, there is only one guy that I would like to mention, like Thiago Mello. Like on Okayama in today, it's like the sense that he keeps on making. Man, that's just some peak 1941 Japan.
Wow. Interesting.
very
That's all I'll
interesting.
say.
Very, very interesting
That's-
quote there.
I know.
Apart from getting hit behind in race 1, the racing was really good.
Yes, Antonis.
Goddamn.
Yeah, we didn't manage to catch that on camera. What about yourself, Christian? Christian, can you
Yeah,
hear
Christian.
us?
Oh, no.
I think he's
I think
sleeping.
Christian might be AFK.
Okay,
Does he
Uh, Does he
does
know?
he know?
Well, maybe he can hear us, but we can't hear him.
I doubt he would have wrote something in chat. Probably.
Is he? Has he?
I'd said he would have. Oh,
Oh,
Uh,
he's gone.
he's gone. Okay, I guess it's just Joppe and Philip here then.
Yes.
well,
or
Lorenzo,
in
you can
that
ask a
case,
question again now.
I can and I will. Philip and Jonas, this is a question asked the Excellion pairing. What has tire degradation been like for you in these past 2 rounds? I know Jonas hasn't done the first round, but Philip, you have done both. And one thing I have noticed across these 2 rounds is that pit stops and just like pit stop strategies in general don't seem to be things that drivers are taking too much care or notice about. As at Okayama, over both races there were only 3 pit stops to change tires, and all 3 were in the feature race. And today we had no pit stops at all. Seeing as Carolina is going to be a much longer track compared to both Hampton Downs and Okayama. Did I say Okayama twice? Carolina is going to be a longer track than Hampton Downs for sure. And I'm not quite sure about Okayama, but I think it's going to be longer than Okayama as well. Are pit stops going to be something that you two might consider, or do you think that the tire degradation in these cars is not bad enough for you to consider pitting in either of those races?
Well, yeah, the tire wear seems pretty fine. It's like more about how you use the rears. It's if you overheat them, you're basically done for the rest of the race, and that's when you consider a pit stop just to get them refreshed. But yeah, it's just if you can save the rears, you're just good to go for the rest of the race. And yeah,
It wasn't that bad for me. There were like moments when I locked up a lot and the rear stepped out, but it was fine.
I see, I see. Well, Philip, we can expect you to be with McKenna Racing for the remainder of the season. Jonas, from what I heard, you are only a reserve driver for Optimal today, with Robin Merling looking to return next week. Do you have any offers for a main seat so far? Or do you not have any yet? Are you hoping for a main seat offer? Or has today given you a maybe differing opinion of the series?
I don't have any offers yet, but maybe after this race there would be someone looking to get me on board.
Are there any other questions you would like to ask, Samuel?
What are your guys' expectations for the season? It's only been 2 rounds, but that's basically 1/4 of the season. So yeah.
well, we all know who's winning the championship, so definitely
All
not
right, bro.
pushing for that.
You can't give up
Okay.
on round
No,
2.
I'm not giving up on like high position, but championship is not doable with Cody. He's just too quick. He's too good to catch up. 4 wins in a row, that's just insane. But yeah, for myself, as I said in Okayama, I'll just try to keep on pushing for the top 5 in the driver standings and try to get McKenna as high as possible in the teams one.
Yeah, Ben Skinner does the team standings any day. We might figure out what the standings look like.
No, yeah, we have decided to update them every 2 rounds for whatever reason. What about you,
Because these
Jonas? What are
days-
your expectations for the season if you manage to get a seat?
I'm expecting some good racing. I'm
Most
just doing
Finnish
this.
answer.
I'm just doing this for fun. But,
Most Finnish answer ever, but we love that. We love a little Kimi Räikkönen answer.
We love Finnish people. They're always on to the point immediately. Same with Dutch people. I've never met a Dutch or Finnish person who just doesn't give a no BS answer. Alright. Well, with all of the questions out of the way, I think we can now close out the stream. And first of all, we have to bid farewell to Philip and Jonas here. Philip, Jonas, thank you for joining us on the track and here in the interview booth for this race. And all I can say is that we hope to see you next week as well.
Yeah, that would
Goodbye,
probably be the
guys.
answer. Goodbye.
See ya, and hopefully you're back in the interviews.
Exactly.
See, I cooked.
Yeah, Jonas.
He cooked. Okay, well then, now that interviews are over, one last look at the calendar before we close off. Next week, January 21st, Kyalami with the South African Grand Prix, followed by a free race European excursion at Le Mans Bugatti, Misano, and Brands Hatch. Again, one of 2 tracks returning from Season 1's calendar. Royal Atlanta, round 7 of 8, on the 18th of February, and closing out the season on February 25th in the UAE, Dubai Autodrome. It's not going to be the full layout though, it's going to be the international one, or is it the national one? See, even I forgot.
Pretty sure the small one.
Yeah, it's a small one. It's small cars, you don't need a big car track for small cars. Anyhow, it seems very evident in my speech that the excitement is all gone and energy is all gone as well. I'm Lorenzo Eterovic-Funcic, joined by Samuil Slavev as co-commentator and the ever so lovely Remco Zeeuw on cameras, who did this all while feeling fairly sick. So yet again, if you're still watching for some reason, say thank you Remco in chat, or we will kick you. Thank you for watching so far. Remco is just saying what? Anyways, if you watched this far somehow, thank you so much for watching, and we do hope to see you again next week, again at Kyalami. Take care.